Live? Are we live? I do believe we are live. Hello and welcome to Real American. We're streaming again, once again, with all of your normal hosts, except for Rap. He's getting back into it. He's going to have a video for you guys later today on Tulsi Gabbard, and I hope you guys look forward to that. But for now, you got me. You got Luke over here. We've got Luke. Hello. Hello.
Here's my birth name, Magamau. That's my birth name.
His birth name, Magamau, and then we have Real Texan.
Hello.
Yep, so that's who we got today. That's your crew. And if you like the stream, if you enjoy the content, make sure to give it a like, give it a share, send a super chat if you want one of our tailored experts to answer your very complicated question. I'm sure that you will put it to good use. But yeah, no, please support the stream. We enjoy it. We appreciate it. We're going to get right into the news. Late, John. Yeah. Okay. Somebody thinks that it's your birthday, Luke, because you said your birth name. They think it's your birthday now. Do we need to sing happy birthday?
Oh, my birthday was 2 weeks ago, so no, we don't need to.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So, real quick, before we get into the fun stuff, I did want to bring up Tom Homan had a press conference today about a horrible incident here covered by Homeland Security. We have footage showing two assailants, one an illegal alien with a criminal background, criminal charges, ambushing and shooting a CBP officer yesterday in New York City. Actually, you know, I realized that I'm going to be blocking the text here, so let me move us down to the bottom right. Okay, but we have this footage
reveal
here.
Your group chats again. That would be unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not going to reveal my group chats. Not going to show you my Naruto collection. Not going to show you my I don't know. I probably have more embarrassing stuff on this computer, but I don't remember. Anyway, suspect Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez is a national and citizen of the Dominican Republic, re-entered and released under Biden on April 4th, 2023. The United States Border Patrol apprehended him near San Luis, Arizona. So these are people that we're aware of, that we know. They get captured, they get released. You know the story. And now we have tragedy. And Tom Homan was not having any of it. DHS did a press conference this morning where they insisted upon the city of New York actually cooperating with ICE, doing their job, and allowing us to take the criminals and put them up. Let's see. A glitch TV for two. We need Ike. If you're referring to Dwight Eisenhower, yeah, sure. Let's bring him back. Let's resurrect him from the grave. Do Operation Wetback again. Jacob Hawley for 10. We need the dignity. We need the Dignity Act to save our economy and get the immigrants to vote for our GOP party. We are the true party for immigrants! ! Democrats are the party that wants to exploit you. Call reps. Pointing to a finger, nerd face. Yes. Thank you for that, Jacob Hawley. You are truly the queen of this stream. We will remember you fondly when we deport everybody that you love. I don't know, man. But yeah, no. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's important. It's important to remember that this is an ongoing tragedy, totally preventable tragedy that happens every single day. It actually ended up reminding me of an incident that happened a bit ago. It was actually quite a long time ago, but there was this Syrian guy that was let go by Obama's administration, and he ended up killing cops. And I guess the reason that flashed back into my mind when we were doing this is just that there's so many incidents where either our officers, our law enforcement, or just our citizens are put in danger for totally preventable causes, 100% preventable. And we have to argue with these people that are saying, oh, well, you don't get it. It's like a natural risk that comes with immigration. And like what you're saying only makes sense if you want no migration, blah, blah, blah. It's just like all of these pedantic arguments where the Democrats and their allies in the media fail to understand or pretend they don't understand the difference between problems that you have and problems you bring upon yourself. I think that's the right way to phrase it. we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of dangerous places in this country. And even if we had zero migration, we would still have crime issues. We'd still have violence issues. What else? But those are problems that are easily managed when you do not continuously create more and more and more problems to the extent where all of your public resources are exhausted and you can't actually police anymore, which is pretty much how we've turned many parts of our major cities into. And so I just remember there is a major difference between problems you have and problems you create, problems you bring upon yourself. And I hope everybody in chat's with us when we say, let's stop giving ourselves more problems. Cherokee Bear for 3. Ice, baby. Yep. Nope, that's exactly how I feel, man. Oh, yeah, and here's Stephen Miller's comment on it. Democrats created a puppet presidency under Biden and then used his autopin to resettle the sadistic criminal underclass of the world in our towns. The left has weaponized migration against the American people. Very true. So yeah, just wanted to remind you guys the evils. We did our quick sermon on the evils of immigration. Now, since Luke is nowhere to be seen, I guess we'll save Sanseto for when he gets back. Let's go ahead and talk about Paxton's fundraising. We did pull this up here. In the last quarter, Ken Paxton, Attorney General, raised $2.9 million in a historic fundraising haul for GOP Senate primary challenge. The movement to fire John Cornyn has never been stronger. It's just the beginning. It's clear that Texans are ready for a change, and in March 26, change is coming. So says Ken Paxton. Do you have any general thoughts about this fundraising, or any comments about it compared to Cornyn's race? How he's been doing?
Cornyn's
Texan?
probably fucked with us. Well, Cornyn's fucked.
Oh, Cornyn's fucked? Yeah. No, I would presume as much. It seems like it's doing really bad. I am very surprised at how well this is being handled. So I don't know if I guess Ken Paxton and his campaign were prepared for the fallout to happen with the other stuff, with the all of the funding and everything for, not the funding, but the divorce. And I've been looking at the other stuff. Like the opposition's been creating stuff. They made like a Crooked Ken website that doesn't seem to get many views. They've been putting up ads to try and talk about and kind of throw dirt on him. All this other stuff, but it's not, as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem to really be like sticking or landing at all, which is interesting.
I will say it wouldn't be me calling into a live stream if I wasn't outside walking. So, had to do that.
So true, Luke. Glitch TV for 2. RFK Jr. has been doing a great job. I agree. I actually didn't have RFK News set up on the stream, but I'm going to bring up one thing. Do I have the screenshot? I brought it up because, yeah, here. I had this screenshot from the weekend because I was just like showing people every single time they do a thing on RFK, they use the darkened image of him where you can't see his eyes or his face because the lighting is cast down on him. And this is just like leading report. Breaking. PepsiCo to remove artificial dyes and flavors from Lay's and Tostito chips. And it's just like, RFK Jr. as if he's like a mob boss threatening to, do what to them if they don't change, remove the dyes. I don't know, man. RFKW
Real quickly, after we finish that, I did just see something that I want to touch on briefly, but we don't have to have a whole segment. No, I'll just bring it up now because why not? People who do not live healthy lifestyles. Hunter Biden, anyone remember him? He apparently wants to run for president. He did an interview where he wants to run for president.
That's amazing.
No, and he said that if Bukele does not free all of the people Trump sent there, he will invade. So
yeah,
that's his platform,
So he's gonna have
Hunter
the CIA take out So he's gonna have the CIA take out Bukele like we have with all the other communist leaders in Central America.
I just want Hunter Biden to get really, really high and then release his policy platform after like 12 hours of just doodling. Because I want to see what that brain can come up with. I think we've got great things coming ahead of us. K-Cup for 2, Dark Maha Episode 3, Return of the Natural Color. Ben Senix for 5, Don Roberto Kennedy, making the corporations an offer they can't refuse. I don't know I did that in an accent, but thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Avery for 2, who would have thought RFK would be best in cabinet? I think everybody likes RFK a lot just because he keeps his head down. He doesn't try to get into headlines. He does make TV appearances, but he's always making TV appearances when he actually has something to announce or something to push. So if he's pushing a change in the admin,
he doesn't do any strongly worded letters, he just does things.
That's a good way to put it. He's not going out there to give you fluff or to give you promo. He's just like, hey, we're trying to make this policy change at the CDC. Hey, we're trying to push corporations to XYZ. Hey, we're really trying to rip big pharma ads off of TV, but we have to do it the specific way. Hey, and the recent W's, if we didn't talk about them, he's gotten Coke to put real cane sugar into Coca-Cola from now on. And the first place you will be able to enjoy it is at the Steak and Shake. They did the beef tallow fries earlier. Now they're doing real cane sugar Coca-Cola at all Steak and Shake places. So if you have a Steak and Shake near you, check it out. I think they said starting August 1st, it'll all be real cane sugar. Nash the Neat for 5. If Hunter runs, he needs to use the picture of him with the crack pipe for his ads. Absolutely. I think that it's kind of like a wizard without his wand, You have to have the crack pipe or else it's not even really Hunter Biden without the crack pipe, if we're being honest. But yeah, back to Paxton. Paxton has shown really great, formidable, robust. He's been very robust against all of these negs. He's basically been able to paint all of the criticism of himself as quote, the kinds of things they went after Trump for. That's what I saw him tweet out. And it seems to be working. And the messaging seems to be working. And I'm looking at the opposition stuff. It's not getting a lot of traction on X. It's not getting a lot of traction elsewhere. And most of it's just kind of hot blub. We all kind of knew when we saw it that it was coordinated. It was coordinated attacks against Ken Paxton. But he's been handling it very well. And as you guys can see, raised a ton of money. So it looks like he's going to continue. I believe the number he's outraised in the previous quarter, Cornyn, by $2.1 million. So that's pretty cool. Simple Logic for 5. Hunter has no class. Crack is such a poor person drug. At least Don Jr. has the decency to do coke. Yeah, no, I was taught you're supposed to do coke, not crack. Crack cocaine is the poor person version, right? Yeah. But yeah, anyways, we have a few different things going on there, but the other thing I wanted to mention with Paxton, he is in fact starting up a lawsuit against U.S. Masters Swimming. There's a trans athlete allowed to participate in San Antonio, and he is going after them. So that's always, it's more good publicity for Paxton. It's a good lawsuit in general. Men out of women's sports, 80-20 issue. So he's being very smart about the battles he's choosing here. I feel like this is a really good battle. There was some more scandalous stuff I could go over with Paxton, but I don't really care to. It seems like he's doing, like I said, it mostly seems like nonsense and hot air for you guys. On the abortion end, great news. Abortions drop 40% in Florida this year, thanks to the heartbeat law. Yeah, so there's been a 40% decline in Florida. So, yep, tens of thousands of babies have had their lives saved. God bless. We can do better, but it's always really nice to know that we're doing something and helping these children and protecting the most vulnerable, the people who cannot speak up for themselves. It's a wonderful thing. Very happy. Abortion, pro-life W. Trump came out and called for the Washington Commanders to change their name back to Washington Redskins. he calls for the Cleveland Guardians to change their name back to Cleveland Indians. All right, hold on a second. I'm gonna have to mute you for a sec, Luke, because you're really. Can you go like on push a talk or something? Yeah. American Nerd for 2. Thoughts on the AntiSansto stuff? We'll get to it in just 1 second. We're actually right about to get to it. I was just gonna do a couple of quick stories. Jacob Hawley for 2. Nikki Haley and Lindsey Graham for 2028. Very electable. Thank you, Jacob. We always appreciate your very honest.
Both from South Carolina.
Yeah, he's trolling, but but yeah, that doesn't work, does it? And that one of them has to move. No, but yeah, no. This was the Trump post. Washington, whatever, should immediately change their name back to Washington Redskins. There's a big clamoring for this. Likewise, the Cleveland Indians, one of our 6 original baseball teams with a storied past. Our great Indian people in massive numbers want this to happen. Their heritage and prestige is systematically being taken away from them. Times are different now than they were 3 or 4 years ago. We are a country of passion and common sense. Owners, get it done. So that's pretty cool, right?
The Redskins is a slur.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I can't wait for us to get back to the world where not a single person even thinks about saying that, and they're immediately called stupid and kicked out of the room for saying that. I have been waiting for us to get back to that. Oh yeah, really good news out of Washington. Really good white pill out of Washington. A federal court has temporarily blocked the Washington state law we discussed before that would force priests to break the seal of confession. Yes, Washington state was actually stupid enough to try and challenge the exercise of religion inside of Washington state. As you guys know, exercise of religion is protected under the First Amendment, which means that you cannot force a priest to break a seal of confession. But for some reason, the state government thought they were going to get away with bringing forth a law that explicitly violates the First Amendment. Don't know why. But, for now, Catholics in Washington state have been preserved from the stupidity of the left. So yeah, rare federal court W. We've got abortion W's, federal court W's. We got W's going around everywhere, guys. Let me see here. Oh, one last quick story from the Fed. Scott Bessent, when talking on news media about Jerome Powell, expands his skepticism of the Reserve beyond Powell. He says, we don't just need to examine Powell. We don't just need to replace Powell. We need to examine the entire Federal Reserve institution, implying that the Trump administration is sincerely looking at probably not abolishing the Fed, but severely reforming the Fed and possibly changing its relationship to the executive branch. This would be really big stuff, depending on what exactly Scott Bessent means here. But from what I can gather, it looks like the Trump admin seriously wants what's going on right now to not happen in the future. Cake up for 5. If Paxton wants votes, get men out of women's sports and make Charles Barkley proud by helping them big old women in San Antonio lose weight. Oh, goodness. But yes, I can't find a reason to disagree with you. Very true. Very true. All right. And so we'll go ahead. I'll look for that W on the 2A in a second, but we're going to go ahead and jump into AntiSansto if Luke is here. I hope he is, but we have a lot to talk about. So Japan just had elections. I think I have their distribution right here for you guys to look at. Right now, we have a major change in Japanese government in the lower house. The House of Parliament today had the ruling party, the LDP, lose its majority that it was having in coalition with Komeito. These people have been ruling Japan for freaking forever. The LDP has been ruling Japan pretty much since the post-war era. So it's been a long time. They've been in power for a long time. They've adjusted it according to their voters' desires pretty well. And it's been basically a one-party state with influences here and there. But they had a coalition between the LDP and Komeito. That coalition has lost enough seats, 6 and 19 respectively, so that they no longer are going to be able to govern with a majority government on their own. What happens from here? It seems like most likely they will find a smaller party to close up the few seats. They don't need a whole bunch of seats. They only need a few seats to actually get going and, maintain a government. But it is going to be a little bit shakier and trickier with 3 parties instead of 2. We'll have to see exactly what happens from there. We know that there's many parties denying a coalition with the LDP. And of course, it would be kind of impossible for the Japanese parties to make a giant mass, 7-8 party coalition. That's not going to happen. So we have this issue here where the LDP and Komeito theoretically both have to work together to find a new partner. And we will see how that goes. I just wanted to bring up a few different points. So first of all, the upstart party is kind of the talk of the town in regards to Japanese elections. AntiSansto, they're an anti-immigrant party. They're a native party. They have criticisms of women in the workforce. They're really looking at traditional society, and they're not necessarily like a hyper, right-wing capitalist one group. They're more so thinking about what the work culture in Japan has done to both traditional culture and the nuclear family in Japan. And so they're looking at possibly promoting motherhood and also promoting benefits for families so that they can deal with the aging Japanese population in a natural way and not with migrants. It's really funny because it's so different, but it's also the same as over here. Migrants have reached this capacity of being it was 3.8 million people in Japan. So only a couple percent of their population is actually migrant, but it becomes an issue so much quicker than it is for us because they have a deep comfort with their homogenous culture and they don't like it being taken. And also there's general criticisms from all of the parties that are kind of right wing and maybe mildly anti-immigrant. They all criticize the general abuse of welfare and other institutions in Japan. So you have that going on too. So AntiSansto has been very loud about all of these gaijin outsiders going and abusing their welfare programs and not paying into anything. So if they have any sort of speaking power in this new government, I don't think they would be part of the ruling coalition. But if AntiSansto ended up getting any sort of power, it definitely would be on your watch. If you're a leecher, if you're a little white leecher in Japanese society, they're going to kick you out. They're going to send you back to your terrible, terrible first world country. So be ready, gaijin. The stunning thing is AntiSansto had nobody in this house in 2019. They got one guy in the previous election in 22, and 3 years later, 2025, they have gained 14 seats. They've moved up from the 9th party to the 6th party. They've moved up 3 slots in the entire thing. So they're not really significant in terms of current rule. But when you see a party explode in popularity like that, it's definitely has the same kind of vibes as Reform UK does. It has the same movement. And when things are accelerating, they sometimes do snowball into even bigger things. So people really looking at this nativist, anti-immigration, pro-family welfare party, AntiSansto. And, there's both positive and negative reactions. There's polarizing. So here's something I'll show you guys. More elite Japanese universities joined the anti-AntiSansto campaign. Left one is Kyoto University, right is Chuo University, and they have these signs, Kyoto will be fascist free. And then they have this other side from Chuo, which says no one is illegal. And we had a bunch of people commenting on these signs saying that there's no way a normal Japanese person wrote the sign. They're very detached from the actual sentiment of 90% of Japanese people. They have to be either big leftists from universities or they're gaijin writing these signs, which kind of feeds into Sanseto's rhetoric, their narrative about Japan being culturally changed by Western ideas and globalism. Let's see. All right. Object Class Cater for 5. Talk about possible revoking judge nominations from Biden to be null and void, even possibly Ketanji Brown Jackson. Comer kind of talked about it regarding the auto pen. It seems like far flung away. We really do kind of, with all of these things, including the Obama investigation Tulsi started, that Rap's doing a video on later today. Check it out in a few hours. We're all just kind of waiting to see if the DOJ will do anything. That's really the big thing. We're waiting to see if the DOJ will do anything on any of these issues. American Nerd for 2. Japan is screwed, isn't it? Look, if you're going to doom about Japan, then you have to doom about pretty much everything else. As far as they have they have a big financial problem, but the thing is that a financial collapse is something a country can survive. The migrant collapse is very different, but no, it's what Luke was saying. Luke was going to bring this up, but he had to leave the call. The point Luke wanted to make on stream was that everybody in the polling said that the LDP, which is the ruling party, their votes were going to go to making seats in center-left parties or left-wing parties, and they didn't. It seems like almost all of the energy that left the ruling party went to a couple of different right-wing parties, and the primary one everyone talks about, Sanseito. So yeah, no, that it seems like the opposite narrative. I don't think Japan's screwed at all. I think they're actually pushing for their rights to be recognized. So I would not say that. Maybe economically speaking, they might get screwed pretty soon. But as far as like a country, no. American Nerd for 2. Sanseito sounds more based than the LDP. Yeah, no, I think that's the whole point. It's the LDP center right, Sanseito is more harder right wing. K-Cup for 5. Liberal anime fans and weebs, trans rights, make all anime gay, ship all my gay stuff in it, Orange Man bad, actual Japan, we rovu donarudo torampu. Yeah, pretty much. American Nerd for 2. Japanese politics has been crazy since Abe left us. Yeah. Pour a cold one out for Shinzo Abe. Yeah. But going through, those are all okay. I'm caught up on super chats now. But yeah, a couple more things about Sanseito. You see there's an anti-Sanseito backlash, even though they're like the 6th largest party. And it's kind of really silly, but I did want to show you guys. They had some campaigning to show you guys what kind of stuff Sanseito's doing. Saya-chan in Tokyo was doing campaigning right up until the election, calling on voters to, quote, stop the decline and destruction of Japan. Yep, so that's that. I did want to bring up Saya because apparently she started becoming popular because she was running in Tokyo, so a lot of people saw her, a lot of notoriety. So, apparently Saya, one of the candidates from Sanseito, she's not the leader of the party, by the way, but she said that Japan should acquire nuclear weapons. Quote, while we do rely heavily on the US, we must also prepare ourselves. I think nuclear armament is one of the cheapest and most effective ways to ensure national security. So, I guess W's in chat if you want Japan to have nukes. How's chat feeling about Japan having nukes? Let's see about that. Yeah, no, she ran an anti-immigration platform. She won her seat in Tokyo. And I wanted to show you guys this clip. I'll put it in general for Texan real quick. But I wanted to show you guys this clip. Because it's just kind of weird to me to look at how different these the like electoral politics are run and on Japanese television. It just looks so weird. But yeah, here's real quick the clip.
万歳三唱唱えさせていただきます。一緒にご唱和ください。最高峰の当選を祝いまして、万歳！万歳!
I'll doing the bonsai. I was looking at the. It's just really weird how the television set up. They have all of these candidates in the bottom. She gets applause. They get her a bouquet. It's very emotional. It's like winning a game show. I guess that's what I thought. Like when I saw this, it was like winning politics in Japan is like they treat it like winning some sort of game show or something. It's fascinating to me. But yeah. Let's see. Avery for 5. Is this going to be spun as Trump causing another conservative party loss? Well, why would it be? If like the harder right anti-immigration party picked up almost all the seats that LDP lost, why would it be spun that way? No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be spun that way at all. If anything, Trump's made Japan more right-wing by pushing tariffs. And by the way, the whole Canada, I know where your talk coming from. It's like Canadians are arguing we forced them to have another liberal government. I think that's a bunch of crap. I think that's a load of crap. Hey, Luke. Welcome back.
Apparently, that's the news out of New Hampshire.
Now
Apparently,
we
the White
should be
House
back.
is.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've been having a bunch of connection issues. My phone's been glitching. I don't know why, because usually it does fine over here. I think I just restarted my phone and now it's going normal. So
Well,
you just have to do that.
We'll let you get your piece in on AntiSansto in a second. I've been talking about that solo for a bit. What was the news out of New Hampshire?
Apparently, the White House wants to recruit. Actually, the White House is recruiting a candidate for New Hampshire Senate. So it seems like Scott Brown isn't good enough.
I don't know what the problem is with Scott Brown. I like Scott Brown.
I think Trump thinks he's a rhino, so they want somebody else.
How is he, dude? He worked in his administration. He was one of his earliest backers in 2015. What did he do?
I don't know. Maybe he said something about 2020.
He didn't say anything, dude. He was in the admin. He stayed on until January 20th. Also, he's been big on like promoting his 24 campaign. So I don't know why. That just seems very petty. I'm gonna be honest. It was like, yeah, I'm not gonna stand by that. That just seems way too petty.
Yeah, I don't know if they
for
want
the
like
win.
Lewandowski or something, or.
Well, I will
Gross.
wait on you. I will wait on you guys. I have no opinions. I don't know enough. I don't know enough about it to comment on it really. But what I will say is, I guess the White House has a bunch of money to screw, so maybe they're just thinking, hey, we can blow money on this and we can get exactly who we want in New Hampshire. If they're gonna pick somebody else,
Scott Brown's the only one who can win because he's the only one moderate enough for the state, and he's an early backer of Trump too. So I don't know. He's not like disloyal or anything. I have no idea why he's spazzing out. You're not
I don't
going
know
to get
either,
an
man.
ultra mega senator in New Hampshire. I don't know what he's spazzing out about.
When New Hampshire will give rise. We took Thomas Massey, we killed him, we resurrected him, and we injected him with MAGA vision. He's like been injected with the MAGA serum, and he's going to be our zombie. He's going to be our zombie senator from New Hampshire, zombie Thomas Massey. I don't know, man. But yeah, it's really weird. I hope whatever they do that it's smart. I hope they pull up a good candidate if they're going to put up someone else. But
well, I don't have. If they think Scott Brown isn't good enough, they're not going to find someone better because the only person who'd be a better candidate than Scott Brown is Sununu, and he already said he's not running. So,
which is unfortunate. Very unfortunate that we missed out on the Sununu. I don't know. Yeah, no, but
maybe the White House gets them to jump back in. If they can do that, then I won't complain. If they somehow manage to get Sununu to jump back in, we'll see.
That'd be cool. Avery for 2, bro. We tried and failed with Don Bold C. I think
Trump
Avery misspelled.
Like no, dude, Trump doesn't like Bolduc either. I don't know. That's why I don't know who he's gonna run in New Hampshire because he doesn't like anyone.
Chuck Morse, maybe. I don't know. Actually, I think Chuck Morse supported Haley. Or actually, I think it was Bolduc.
No, Bolduc was the one who backed Haley.
American Nerd.
Like Chuck Norris. I don't know.
American Nerd for 2. Is it because Brown was a senator from Massachusetts before MA?
Maybe that's why. Yeah, because that's the biggest like electoral blunder because Brown fits the state well. It's just that 10 years ago he moved from Massachusetts. He was formerly in office in Massachusetts. Maybe Trump doesn't like the carpetbagger thing. That might be it. But still, I think he's probably the best person. He's been in for the longest time and he doesn't want to get out. So I think having a competitive primary for no reason, especially in kind of a long shot seat like that, is kind of stupid. But whatever. You never know. If they can get Sununu to jump back in, though, I won't complain, but I doubt it. So I think you should just go with Scott Brown.
I see people in chat. I'm putting it in the general chat for you two, but someone wanted me to bring this up. I'm putting it on screen for everyone right now.
I sent that.
You sent it earlier.
Mike Collins
sorry about that.
And Ralph Norman has an announcement in South Carolina.
Well, so it looks like this is like a quick 15-second thing I'll show chat.
Already garnering national attention. John Ossoff.
I'd also like to show some of the liberal Twitter discourse on the Senate race, just so you can see that, these people, they don't really, they think they're just going to be handed this stuff on a silver platter. They don't think they're going to be very disappointed, let's just say, come next year. When
he just showed a screen cap full of people, a guy named Arrest Trump and Georgia Democrat arguing about is Georgia likely D or safe D? And then they're saying that
I would like to point out in a midterm, they're talking about a Trump state that has that the Democratic base is made up of a black population that doesn't even turn out in midterms. That's what the state they're talking about.
They think that 2026 is going to be a repeat of 1974, like a blue tsunami.
All I can say is that I know that I've been pessimistic about Georgia in the past, but Mike Collins makes me very optimistic for this specific race, the Senate race. I feel very strongly
I just think the fundamentals favor us in a seat like that, because it's not even really the candidate, because I don't really think a lot of it comes down to candidate quality. It just comes down to it's a state in the South that's about 50-50. Most of the Democratic support is black voters. They don't usually turn out in midterms. It's very rare that they do so, at least in major numbers. So I think it's with that, and the Democratic incumbent is not really a very charismatic guy. I get he's got somewhat favorable ratings, but if the people who approve of him don't come out, what's that gonna what happens then, you know? Like typically happens in midterms, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yep. Wait and see. I think the crew here is pretty optimistic about Mike Collins. We're very happy about that. Wait, where's Saya Chan? Bring back Saya Chan. We don't need to keep talking about her. I just think she's just kind of cute. Anyways, let's see here. I didn't have anything else really to talk about Japan. So I think we can close that up. Was there any other news that you guys wanted to... I want to
point something out. I do want to point this out because and you guys might attack me for saying this or whatever, but there is some issue that just happened in the Czech Republic that I think we should bring up. They are banning all political parties that they perceive to be communist. And I just would like to say that we need to oppose that no matter what happens. I'd like to point out, too, that the Communist Party they're going after in the Czech Republic is actually quite right-wing, at least by a Western standpoint. And it's being actually pushed. This ban is largely being pushed by the liberals in the country. So it's not being pushed by the right-wing. The right-wing populists oppose the move, actually. So I think it's safe to say a lot of I'm just saying a lot of right-wingers might look at that and be like, based? Are we banning it? Based? But then you look into the actual specifics, and no, it's not. There's usually, especially in these European countries, there's usually a motive for banning those. And it wasn't just communists. They banned all quote-unquote fascist and communist parties. So just saying,
I think that's
we don't want to see we don't want to see people banned from running. Yeah, go on.
We're here, people with the slippery slope fallacy. We don't really consider it to be a fallacy for the most part. In most applications, it's not actually a fallacy, but that is the main issue. The issue that you're bringing up is that when you brand something for being fascist or communist or whatever else, the primary issue is that the government and the ruling parties that control the government get to decide what those terms mean. So, for instance, earlier we were very concerned about, there was a very legitimate concern about the AfD being banned for being too right-wing in Germany. And so you have that kind of issue, although I will kind of bring up, it's not a new thing. Czech is on the west end of a kind of common phenomenon in Eastern Europe, where ever since the Cold War ended, ever since the curtain fell, a lot of East European countries have just banned communism, like in general. They banned communism. They don't want to try it again. And so as much as like we absolutely don't like people like ruling centrist parties to be able to decide who can and can't run for office, that's usually really bad. I will at the very least say, oh, well, I get where the sentiment comes from, where the impulse comes from. It's just like, well, we tried that for somewhere between 50 and 80 years. We really didn't like it. We don't want to do it again. Can we do something else? And so that's some of the mindset of these people that you're seeing. It's kind of sad that it's in that situation, but we kind of get it. And it's not, I will say it's not, they're not the only people participating in this sin. If we were to
no,
call
I know that they're not. Yeah, but I think it should be condemned. And I don't know. I think we should have a Europe of free speech. That's just my opinion. But.
Well, yeah, like I said, the main problem with giving that authority to the central party, to the central power, is that then it can be used to basically silence anyone. And the only time that we don't, we've come into this portion in American politics where we look at what the right wing can do and we go, well, no matter what we do, the left has already done and will continue to do horrible things no matter what. But in some of these countries, they do have more of a balance. It's not like where in here, the left wing has literally done everything it possibly could do and will continue to do it, whether we do regardless of what we really do in the United States. Over there in some of these countries in Europe, they do still have some sort of balance between the two. I don't know enough about the Czechs to really comment on them.
I can say this, though. You got to realize this. People who are still professed communist in Eastern Europe, they're not nearly close to the same as like people on college campuses who would call themselves communist in the U.S.
Well, they're more Stalinist.
Czech Communist Party, yeah. Well, also this, they did polls in the Czech Republic on how every party would vote in the U.S. election. The Communist Party was actually the only party that would have voted for Trump. So that's what you need to know.
Amusing.
It was like 70-30. So yeah, this country, like these communists are people that are they're nationalistic. They're very culturally and socially conservative. They're not like dyeing their hair and million pronouns, the things you anticipate with like Western socialism or communism, has nothing to do with that.
I guess MAGA communism was real all along, guys. Oh my goodness.
It is, yeah.
No,
it's not
but,
in America.
I've been ignoring a super chat. American Nerd 45, with this new right-wing party in Japan that has nationalist talking points, do y'all think Japan will try to go back to their imperial days? No. So Japan being like trying to preserve itself as a country, as a society, culture, blah, 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 is extremely different from Imperial Japan. And I would say the primary difference is where the authority came from. When you're looking at Imperial Japan's authority, it actually really, the government came to exist, the martial government came to exist from the capturing of Manchuria. And really, it was military might that controlled the country at the time that changed the character and the ethics of what they were doing very starkly. I won't say necessarily that the Japanese before that time were all cute and cuddly, but they were definitely governed differently. And so I would say, as long as Japan's not being governed by some sort of military force, I really do think that changes the morals of what kind of society is being led drastically. You see this in the real world too. any governments or dictatorships that are held up by military might in the current times, they usually have a very different set of morals, and they usually go in the direction of violating rights that all of us want to, violating human rights and violating a lot of people's personal liberties. There's just I'm trying not to go into details. Yeah. Try not to go into morbid detail.
I will say this: if you want my 2 cents on, from what I know about Japanese politics, basically the ruling party is called the Liberal Democratic Party. They had a pretty bad performance yesterday, actually a very bad performance, at least historically. This party is basically undisrupted, ruled Japan since the end of World War II. They've won every election with the exception of 2008. And yesterday they didn't do too hot. They still they fell short of a majority, them and their coalition partner. So now they're in a position now where they're looking for answers. They're looking, how do we fix it? And you know what I think they're probably going to do? And I'll just point out, you might be saying, how the hell do they keep winning? Is it a dictatorship? It's not. People just choose to vote for the same party over and over again. And that's just how Japan is. You know, they like sticking with the same thing because they know it brings stability. But basically, the party has been moving kind of more liberal since the death of Shinzo Abe. You guys may remember him, the assassination of him back in 2022. And I think with this party now surging, you're probably going to see the LDP be like, shit. And I think you're probably going to see that old faction, the Abe faction of the party, start to come back. And I think probably eventually retake the party. That's my opinion. And I think that I don't really see the LDP ever moving out of power because it kind of just shifts its position to be where the people of Japan are. So it stays in power. So that's what I see happening. So I think the LDP will probably move into the right. The current guy who leads it, Shigeru Ishiba, is very much so in the center of the party, very much so a moderate centrist. So
yeah, I'm actually in like complete agreement, Luke. I think the LDP is going to shift gears and try to take back those seats that they lost. We'll see if AntiSansto can claw up some more support, or if LDP can convincingly win back some voters that they lost by reviving that faction of their party. But I'm going to go into some stories that were left here by Rap and Texan. We'll go through these. And while we're doing it, since we've been going a while, just letting you guys know, this is kind of a last call for super chats because we may, as we go through the stories, I don't know how long we're going to go through the stories, but when we finish the stories, we'll try to wrap up the stream. But a few things, starting off with Ralph Norman. He is making a special announcement, Texan, that I'm sure you can tell us about. Make plans to join me Sunday the 27th to hear some exciting news about the future of South Carolina. So we have Ralph Norman running for South Carolina Senate. Is that what's going on?
Senator or governor, I'm not sure which one.
We will have news in about a week about Ralph Norman, and he will be running for something. that's what we're aware of. He's running for something, guys. I have here Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna filing criminal referrals against Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell with the DOJ. Now, recall the reason this is significant, the reason it's a news story, is because Trump said, oh, no, we won't go after Jerome Powell unless there's fraud. And then they immediately opened up an investigation into fraud in the renovations of the Federal Reserve building. So this is kind of tying in with it. Anna Paulina Luna jumping in with a criminal filing against Jerome Powell. We'll continue watching the story as it develops, but it's not looking good for Mr. Powell. I will say that much. Notes from more Texan news. Brian Harrison, betrayal. Speaker Burrows just appointed radical Democrat Gene Wu to his new select committee on redistricting. Oh, this appointment comes moments after Wu threatened a quorum break to stop Trump's agenda. So looks like we have this Asian looking dude, and he's threatening to halt the redistricting. What does this mean, Texan?
Well, first off, I will mention Gene Wu is the minority leader of the Texas House. Also was born in China. I should mention that he was born in Guangzhou, China. Um, he's basically our de facto speaker because Dustin doesn't have the pair of testicles necessary to tell him no.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Well, so yeah, so what does it mean for redistricting? What does it mean in terms of what we can expect going forward with this? Because I am kind of worried about that. What is this going to get in the way of us actually getting 5 or 6 districts in Texas?
I guess it could. I'm not sure. I'm guessing. I think Democrats are planning to flee the state like they did. I
Oh,
think a few years back. I'm not sure.
well, that way if they basically give up like they did in Florida, that would be
Now I
pretty
will
cool.
mention the committee. It's 21 members of the new committee. It's 12 R's, 9 Democrats.
Okay, so it's still Republican heavy, still probably can be outvoted, but they're there to make a fuss. So I guess we'll have to continue watching that story as it develops. But here we go. Let's see. So those are the stories she had brought up, and then we have Andrew, don't walk, don't run, posting about Jon Stewart. There is speculation that Jon Stewart may have also gotten a call from Paramount and that he may announce tonight that The Daily Show's 30th season will be its last. So, and this is really funny to me because, of course, everybody was talking about how, Stephen Colbert losing a show, it's a tragedy, but one of the liberals on Fox had said something like, "Oh, he just needs to go back to Comedy Central and do the Colbert Report with Jon Stewart and Daily Show. It'll be like good old times, ladies and gentlemen, good old times. We can still turn back the clock. Make it 2005 again, guys." Nope. So they're actually going to possibly cancel the Daily Show, which would have implications for Stephen Colbert being able to do anything on Comedy Central. But yeah, it looks like the talking heads who decided that moralizing and making liberal, church sermons was more important than actually making jokes, being funny, being entertaining. So yeah, it looks like that this part of the influence sphere is dying. God bless.
The Democrats have a new I guess policy platform of forcing CBS to reinstate Stephen Colbert for some reason. I don't know.
You cannot force I'm just going to be real. When a company is losing $40 million a year on a project, you're not going to be able to force them to continue doing it. Usually that means that either they will stop
But democracy.
Look, either they will stop or you will make them go bankrupt. There's no money for you to give them from the federal government anymore. We decided you're not allowed to give people money to propagandize against us, okay? American Nerd for 5.
Canceling Stephen Colbert is the end of democracy.
It is. It really is, actually. American Nerd for 5. Sorry for asking that question about Japan. No, don't worry about it. You can keep asking questions about whatever. I couldn't help but thinking that I thought they could move that direction since how they teach World War II. No, it's very different over there. They have leftist indoctrination institutions, but they're not nearly as deeply seated and they're decades behind us at all times. So the more that you see them moving right and correcting, I genuinely think Japan has an opportunity to correct itself a lot faster than other countries because they're catching on to the problems and addressing them a lot faster than we are. Yeah.
It doesn't even have civil unions for gay marriage yet. So yeah,
they
very
don't have
much
civil
so.
And the party that just gained 13 seats is like against that. They're against LGBT stuff too, which is kind of crazy.
They're more liberal on like abortion than the U.S., but that's about the only social issue they're really to the left of us on.
Oh,
but
Japan?
even then, I'd say California. Yeah, California still has a more liberal abortion law than Japan now. So it's compared to some
Japan
of our
is,
states.
Despite the stuff that you may see in the media that gets disseminated here, Japan itself is a lot more conservative than we are. It's just that you guys usually through media you see the seediest and most left wing and most kind of like depraved parts of Japan based off of what they ship out to the rest of the world. K-Cup for 5 WNBA players wear shirts that say "Pay us what you owe us." Also WNBA has never turned a profit. Me, dang, advocating for a major pay cut is bold. Oh goodness. Why does the WNBA exist, bro? I don't get it either. American Nerd for 5. The only thing I watch on Comedy Central are reruns of The Office and Seinfeld and new South Park episodes. Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert can F off. Probably a sentiment shared by many individuals. American Nerd.
Jon Stewart might also. I think Jon Stewart's also one of the rumored candidates to run against Chuck Schumer.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that was something that they were saying about Stephen Colbert too. So they're saying Jon Stewart's going to run against Chuck Schumer. And then someone else was like, well, thank God Colbert lost his job because now he has time to focus on winning elections. That tells you everything, doesn't it? These are not entertainers. These are not late night show hosts. These were propagandists. Someone pointed out in every single eulogy that was made of Stephen Colbert's Late Show, not a single one of them used the word funny, laughs. It was not about, oh, he made me laugh so much. Oh, it was so funny. No, it's just, this was so important for our democracy. This was so important for XYZ. It's the pretense has been dropped for a long time. Trump. Okay, more news. Actually, we have 2 more news bits. So last call for super chats. Last call. Eric D. Flores says, I am an infantry captain, former federal prosecutor, and I'm a father. I'm running for Congress to put South Texas and America first. So we have
He's running in Texas 34th.
Texas 34th, South Texas veteran and former assistant U.S. attorney pledges to put South Texas and America first. Eric Flores grew up in the Rio Grande Valley.
From San Benito, that is the suburb of Brownsville and Harlingen in Cameron County, Texas.
Oh my! So it looks like this guy has a pretty good record. Looks like he's has he put out a platform or anything, or do you know anything about what positions he holds?
I'll have to look that up.
Let's see here.
But if no one else runs, then he might be our candidate for the House in that seat.
Eric is a devoted father and husband, guided by his Christian faith, unwavering commitment to his neighbors. Eric brings the same tenacity he displayed in uniform and the courtroom to his campaign for. I mean, based off of like those things. Okay, so he's done service. He's worked in the courtroom. He's been an assistant attorney. Seems like a really solid record to run for a House seat on. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be very hard for him.
He's also Hispanic, so that'll help a lot down there.
Hispanic, South Texas, really clean record. Looks like a clean candidate.
Border, support President Trump's agenda, although it doesn't get into specifics. So,
wow.
I guess we'll see. I don't think he has any relation to Myra Flores, by the way. A lot of Hispanics have the same last name down there, but Myra Flores carpetbagged over to Texas 28 to run against Henry Cuellar, who may or may not go to prison. We'll see what happens with the trial, if it even happens at all.
Well, yeah, Flores literally just means flower. So like it's like being upset at someone's name being John Smith or whatever. It's like Flores, flower. Oh wow, yeah, no, a billion people must have that name.
Marcus Flowers, yes.
Yeah. So last thing from this is not a news story, but Luke put this in the chat, so I'll go ahead and put it up there. Guys, here's your last question of the stream. Very important question. Are you going to have, you can only take one and you can't say no, obnoxiously pro-Russia son or obnoxiously pro-North Korean daughter? It's a question. Think about it.
A happy 1 year anniversary to Biden's dropout, Kamala Harris's campaign, and the Kamala is Brat tweet.
Yeah, absolutely. That was July 20th. It's crazy. I remember. Oh, okay. So it was the 21st. It's just the days are flipped. It was on a Sunday. That's why I thought it was yesterday. And but the weeks don't match up like that. But yeah, no, on the 21st last year, it was a Sunday, and it feels like they barricaded him in a room and then tweeted out on his official X account and said, "I am leaving the race." And I just remember it so clearly because, you know, we had been paying close attention to everything that was going on at the time. And, you know, AOC was bragging the day before about how, you know, oh, you don't you dare think we've settled the Democratic convention. We don't know who we want to replace Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden drops out 2 hours later, endorses Kamala Harris. And then she's like, oh my gosh, I'm like Kamala Harris's biggest fan, guys. I just remember that. I remember that 180 so clearly. But yeah, that was a crazy time. Happy anniversary. Avery for 5. WNP players also attacked Comedy Central because she didn't attend the meeting where they said they were going to wear the shirts, even though Comedy Central wore the shirt. So just an excuse, it sounds like. Just like kind of a really lame excuse. Pro-Russian Sun. They're the same picture. Russian Sun. Everybody feels like they can manage the pro-Russian son more than the pro-North Korean daughter. So don't know what that says about anything, but fun question, Luke. But yeah, no, as you guys know, just keep in touch. Like I said, I will plug it once again. You will be getting a video from Rap later today. He's committed to doing like a stream or two a week. So we're kind of slowly pulling him out of the closet, guys. I promise. He's coming. But so you'll be able to look forward to that. Probably like Wednesday or Friday. But we'll have Rap streaming. And he has a video coming out later today. But otherwise, continue supporting the channel. Give it a like, give it a share, dabba-da-dooba-da-doo. And otherwise, stay frosty, stay safe. God bless all of you, and Godspeed to all of you. Bye-bye.